In the dead of winter, on a cold February night in 1978, 5 young men from Yuba County, California, vanished into thin air. Their disappearance would ignite one of the most baffling and heartbreaking mysteries in American history, a case that remains unsolved to this day. This is the story of the Yuba County Five. Our 5 men were Gary Mathias, Bill Sterling, Jack Madruga, Ted Weiher, and Jack Hoot. They were all friends, part of a day program for adults with mild intellectual disabilities. They were also huge basketball fans. On the night of February 24th, they piled into Jack Madruga's turquoise and white 1969 Mercury Montego to drive about 50 miles from their homes in Yuba City to Chico for a college basketball game. They were seen at the game, excited and happy. After the game, they stopped at a local convenience store for snacks and drinks. This was the last time they were seen alive and well. When they didn't return home, their families grew frantic. A search was launched immediately, but there was no sign of the men or the car. The search extended for days, turning into weeks, with no leads. It was as if they had driven off the face of the earth. Then, a breakthrough. A forest ranger discovered Madruga's car, abandoned on a remote, snow-covered mountain road deep in the Plumas National Forest. The location was bizarre. It was miles off their route home, in a direction that made no sense. The car was unlocked, and one window was rolled down. Inside, police found the wrappers from the snacks they'd bought in Chico. The car was in perfect working order, and had enough gas to get them back down the mountain. Why did they abandon a perfectly good car in the middle of nowhere on a freezing night? The mystery only deepened. The discovery of the car triggered a massive search of the surrounding wilderness, but heavy snowstorms quickly made the area impassable. The search had to be called off until the spring thaw. The families were left to wait in agonizing uncertainty through the long winter months. As the snow finally began to melt in June, the grim discoveries began. The first body found was that of Ted Weiher, inside a Forest Service trailer, nearly 20 miles from the abandoned car. He was found lying on a bed, wrapped in 8 sheets, as if someone had tried to keep him warm. He had starved to death, despite the trailer being stocked with canned food and matches. The cans were all there, untouched, except for one that had been opened with an army-style can opener, something none of the men were known to carry. Weiher had lost nearly 100 pounds. Bizarrely, his shoes were missing, and his feet were severely frostbitten. By his bedside were his wallet, his watch, and a nickel ring. Shortly after, the remains of Bill Sterling and Jack Madruga were found scattered by wildlife about 7 miles from the car. Autopsies determined they had likely died of hypothermia. A few days later, a father searching with his sons discovered Jack Hoot's skeletal remains 2 miles from the trailer. He too had succumbed to the elements. But what about the 5th man, Gary Mathias? He was never found. Only his tennis shoes were discovered inside the Forest Service trailer, suggesting he had been there with Weiher. Mathias had a history of schizophrenia, but he was on medication and stable. Did he experience a psychotic break, or did something else happen to him? His disappearance is the central enigma of the case. This brings us to the witness. The night the men disappeared, a man named Joseph Shands was stuck in his car on that same mountain road, suffering a mild heart attack. He told police that late at night, he saw a group of men and a woman with a baby get out of a pickup truck. He heard them talking, and then saw them walking up the road, using a flashlight. A little later, he said he saw another set of headlights coming from behind him, which stopped. He called for help, but the voices fell silent, and the headlights went out. When he felt better, hours later, he got out and saw the Montego, empty. Was this the Yuba County Five? If so, who was the woman with the baby, and what were they doing on that remote road? Police were never able to verify Shands' story, and he was considered a somewhat unreliable witness. So, what happened to them? The leading theory is that they got lost. Perhaps they took a wrong turn after the game and, confused, continued driving up the mountain until the car got stuck in a snowdrift. Fearing they'd be stranded, they might have decided to walk, looking for help. This explains abandoning the car, but not much else. Why would they walk 20 miles deeper into the wilderness instead of back down the mountain? And why did Ted Weiher starve to death in a trailer full of food? Why were his shoes and Gary Mathias's shoes left behind? Another theory suggests foul play. Perhaps they encountered someone on that dark road who forced them to abandon their car and led them into the mountains. This could explain the strange location of the car and why they didn't access the food. Maybe the person or people they met were the ones Shands saw. but there was no evidence of a struggle, and their wallets and valuables were left with their bodies. The motive is a complete mystery. Then there's the Mathias theory. Some believe Gary Mathias, perhaps experiencing a mental health episode, was somehow responsible. Did he lead his friends on a confusing trek through the woods? Did he take Waiher's shoes for some reason? If so, what became of him? Did he manage to survive and start a new life elsewhere? Or did he, too, perish in the wilderness, his remains simply never found? For years after the incident, his family reported sightings of him all over the country, but none were ever confirmed. The case of the Yuba County Five is a tragic puzzle with too many missing pieces. We have 5 young men, a late-night basketball game, and a series of decisions that led them to their deaths in the frozen wilderness. We have a car abandoned for no clear reason, a trailer full of uneaten food, and one man who vanished without a trace. The evidence seems to contradict itself at every turn, leaving us with more questions than answers over 4 decades later. What do you think happened on that cold February night? Did they simply get lost and make a series of tragic mistakes? Or was there a more sinister force at play? The silence of the mountains holds the truth, a secret it has kept for more than 40 years. The story of the Yuba County Five serves as a chilling reminder of how quickly a normal night out can turn into an enduring, inexplicable tragedy. Thank you for joining me to explore this haunting case. If you have any theories, please share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most compelling mysteries.